Hey everyone, Kevin here with Bullish Bears with a stock review for you guys, and today we're covering Tesla because this past week Tesla had earnings and it completely blew the market out of the water. Tesla went up over 20% overnight with earnings reports. That was adding $150 billion to market cap in just one day. This was a huge move, a lot of momentum volume coming through with it, as we see here on the daily chart, and we're going to break it down in just a moment. We're going to go over some levels, some areas that Tesla might want to perhaps rebalance or continue towards that we could use as targets. So let's get into it. Right now, we're looking at Tesla on the weekly time frame. So as we see, this past week had a lot of volume, we had earnings, and it had a very strong move higher. We even have a bit of a break of structure to the upside. Now that I added a drawing, it's going to reveal the rest of my drawings. So I have some weekly zones that are currently mapped out as blue. So we have a weekly zone here from 286 to 318. Now this is a very wide zone and a lot of people would be concerned, unsure of how to trade it, but what we do when we have a wide zone like this is we have to be aware of it and look to trade the range. As we see the last time we were in this zone and trading within this zone, if we look to simply sell the highs or buy the lows, a lot of those trades would have ended up working in our favor. So now that we have some higher time frame zones, very higher time frame as in weekly, we can now come and look at the daily time frame and look for some major pivots that we could look to maybe break or fail going forward. So we have a pretty strong level over here around 270.93. That's the most recent swing high on Tesla. And if we are able to break and hold that, it does look like on the daily, we might be trying to make some higher highs while we're making some higher lows, which shows us that Tesla might be in a bull trend right now. Something I do want to mention though is the large gap that we did leave behind, but quite often on Tesla we will create gaps just to maybe test them and continue. So something I'm going to do is mark out this very large gap, but be aware that just because we enter into it doesn't mean we're going to fill the gap. A lot of people try to gap fill trade, right? They'll try to enter if we go below 240 and target 220, or enter below 240 and target 230. Whereas what I would do when we enter this gap, I see this gap as an imbalance, right? Tesla stock couldn't be sold at 220. Well, actually, the gap is all the way to here because this is where we closed on Wednesday before we opened on earnings results on Thursday. So again, this is a huge gap, almost $30 gap on Tesla. I would really look for this imbalance to hold and for buyers to step in once we test into that area. The next thing I would look for as well, if we do hold this gap, is we would be creating, again, a higher low, which would help us on our bull thesis. So right now we are looking for longs on Tesla. We want to see if buyers want to hold. We have 270, 299.29, which is near key psychological level 300 even. So we're definitely keeping an eye on that 300 level this week on Tesla. As well with the pullback to say 240, maybe even 235. Now that we're done finding our key levels, which are key levels and key zones should always be found on a much higher time frame. That's how we find the higher probability areas. We could come down to the 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, and even the 30-minute, 45, and 15-minute as well. So we could look at some previous days price action and see if we could find an area of support. So right now we're looking at the 1 hour on Tesla, and unfortunately because of the gap from earnings, there's not much price action down here to go off of. So we're going to come down to the 45-minute, still not really seeing much except a lot of strong moves to the upside, so we're going to check the 30. So now on the 30-minute time frame, I see Tesla opened on Thursday and we rallied, we based, and then we had a rally with continuation. So because of this, I'm going to be marking out this basing candle as a demand zone. So I'm going to keep an eye on this 249.29 to 247.10, right? This is a much smaller zone now, only a $2 zone. So this is much easier to enter on. So we're going to mark that out as our 30-minute demand zone. And now I have an area that I'm going to keep an eye on, right? And it's right near key psychological level 250, which is a key psych level because it ends in a 50, a 25, a 75, or a 100 even. So now if I look left from the zone, I want to see if this also lines up with any other areas of support or resistance. Well, I see that we worked as support right here, support right here. We broke it and it acted as resistance a couple times. Okay, well, this gives me a bit more confidence that this might work as a good area to hold, right? So if we do push down to this 249, 250 area from where we are at 270, a lot of people might be flipping their bias to be bearish because we made such a strong pullback. Meanwhile, we're more aware of the higher time frame, showing that this might just be a pullback before we continue our move higher. Alright guys, I hope this video helps. I'm really excited to trade Tesla with you guys in the live stream coming up this week. Take care, happy trading, and don't forget hit that like and subscribe button. Take care everyone.